Alright, before we get into the video, I just want to say that this Saturday will be my 10th anniversary of me doing movie reviews, aka after I saw videos, and movie reviews in general. I cannot believe it's been 10 years since I first started doing reviews. I first started off my channel with very childish comedy. But yeah, I mean, I still do comedy once in a while. But yeah, it's crazy to think that after 10 years I would still be reviewing movies and yeah. So since there's not really any new movie coming out or anything big coming out this upcoming weekend, I'm just bringing it up right now so that way I won't forget. So yeah, thanks so much for supporting and continuing to watch. So yeah, let's talk about a movie that has been doing very poorly at the box office. But hey, enjoy the video, grab yourself a Celsius, and enjoy. Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka after I saw another late one. This time I'm going to be reviewing I.S.S, or International Space Station. Now, in this movie, we follow a group of astronauts who are forced to go to the I.S.S after an outbreak occurs on Earth. But of course, they end up talking about that whole thing. And from here, we got ourselves, well, a sci-fi thriller. And if you're expecting this to be like a horror film like I did, then don't expect anything too crazy, because this is not like a creature feature or anything like that. I don't even think I saw a trailer for this movie. All that I know is that this was a space movie because, you know, I.S.S. and the fact it was R-rated, I assumed it would be kind of like a horror film. And while it's definitely more thriller than horror, there are aspects of the movie that are actually quite interesting. First of all, the cast. They're terrific. I think it has a very strong main lead role who's female, but I don't know what it was. Her character was kind of underdeveloped. In fact, everybody in this movie, despite having really good performances in front of the camera, I felt like their characters were kind of, I don't know how to put it. I wouldn't necessarily say dull, because throughout a lot of the movie, it is going to focus a lot more on people talking. Don't expect anything like too crazy in terms of violence. But yeah, the movie is very well shot too. The way the movie looks and how the entire movie is in one setting, and how it definitely might be best if claustrophobic people don't go out and see this on the big screen, because it is in a very claustrophobic like setting. So yeah, with once in a while them showing the outside of space. And what's really cool is that nobody ever goes down on Earth. So throughout the majority of the movie, it's just people in the I.S.S. So that's really cool to see, and it's definitely nice looking despite some minor, you know, bad CGI moments. But they are very minor, like there are some, but, you know, they were kind of noticeable, but, you know, it does take place more in the inside setting. And because of this, you know, space station, of course, everybody goes into an anti-gravity movement. So, yeah, the fact that they were pretty much on, like, you know, wires the whole time, it definitely felt like it would be a bit difficult for them. And there are moments of shaky cam here and there. And yeah, it definitely does look like a hard movie to film, despite the fact that the movie's only an hour and a half long. My main gripe with the whole thing is that, you know, despite its concept being relatively interesting, I mean, the movie, it didn't, I had no idea what was going on during the first 30 minutes. But as it went on, I was all like, okay, I think I'm kind of getting it. But as the movie wraps up, I felt like that there were a lot more questions to what just happened to the entire thing. But yeah, and there are definitely going to be some people who are going to say, yeah, a lot of this movie doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But, you know, it definitely does feel like, you know, something we have seen before in other familiar sci-fi films that definitely had done this concept before, probably, and definitely told it a lot better. But as a sci-fi thriller that's only an hour and a half, that does have some really solid performances, a nice looking set, and does tend to have, you know, moments of, you know, intriguement here and there. I feel like, you know, as a sci-fi thriller being released in January, I mean, obviously the month doesn't affect anything. It's just, I definitely don't really see this much as a January film. Just a film that, you know, does have a really unique concept, but I feel like because the pacing is a little too slow and it didn't give me a whole lot to think about as soon as the movie started up because I had no idea what this movie was even about. I just think while there was a really unique concept behind it, I just feel like once the movie wraps up, it leaves more questions than answers because there's actually quite a bit to this movie I would actually kind of like to know more of. Maybe if the movie was a little longer, but in the end, ISS definitely wasn't anything new or spectacular in terms of its concept, but strong performances, a nice setup. It's a good time killer for an hour and a half if you want to see a sci-fi thriller on the big screen. You can go out and see this, but let me warn you, the pacing is very slow. It might not make a whole lot of sense. Maybe multiple viewings might help, but I don't really see this as a film that I feel like I'm going to rewatch. But yeah, it was what it was. I know ISS technically stands for International Space Station, but from my point of view, I would say, in terms of what I think of this movie, I would say ISS stands for It's So So. It could have been better, definitely, but it was what it was. And the director behind this movie has done other stuff before, even better than this, so that's good to know. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.